Hi guys, welcome to Garden Theory. Today we're launching a brand new channel with a total of 5 videos going out today, so be sure to watch the next one after this. But today we're going to be talking about red buds, and hopefully we'll be able to do a deep dive into this plant highlight video, teach you all about it, its landscape uses and practices, and different things that you may not have known previously about it. We may also talk about a few other things along the way, so I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you. Bye. All right, so the Latin name for redbud trees are Cercis canadensis. So they grow typically in zones 5 to 9. Some varieties can go up to zone 4, but generally it's 5 to 9. Their height and spread are usually around 15 to 25 feet, although it does depend on which variety of redbud you get. And the bloom time is March to May, although generally by May it'll start phasing out. It's more of an early spring bloomer usually. In the early spring, when the hyacinths and daffodils start to bloom, that's usually when you start to see the redbuds start to bloom as well. This year, they came probably about 2 weeks early in the area I live. Um, and so it's always a great first sign of spring when you start to see those redbuds bloom. So, for part of my research for this video, I decided to visit one of my favorite places again, Crystal Bridges, to see some of their redbuds blooming. Since they have a large variety of different types of redbuds on their site, they have different varieties such as the native Appalachian Eastern Redbud. They have a few other varieties that I'll go over in a second as we go through the videos. But here are a few footage of some of the flowers that I saw while I was there. The Eastern Bluebell, or I believe it's Eastern Virginia bluebells, were starting to bloom, as well as a few other flowers like golden ragwort. So I'm going to go through a few footages, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about redbuds. While I was at Crystal Bridges looking for some redbuds, I noticed that they had installed some new insect habitats with some collection of sticks, as well as a few gabion walls to have room to hold insect populations, which I thought was pretty cool. Along the North Forest Trail at Crystal Bridges, I came across a really beautiful white redbud. This one being called Vanilla Twist, which I thought was a really beautiful redbud, which you don't usually see the white ones very often, let alone a kind of a creeping or weeping variety of one. So this is one I thought I would share. So one of my favorite parts about redbud trees is they're actually at least some parts of the tree are edible, including the flower, which I've heard some people put in salads. I remember last spring I did try some red buds for the first time, and I thought the flavor was okay. It wasn't anything too, spectacular to me. But they are edible. They're actually part of the bean or the pea family, I believe. And so they do make those little, like, kind of bean pods, which you can kind of see on the trees, especially in the fall and even throughout the winter. They'll still be on the tree, which have the seeds in them. So it's kind of a cool fact about red buds. All right, so now I want to move on to some of the practical aspects of redbud trees when you're deciding whether or not you want to put them in your own landscape. So redbud trees, I kind of consider them as a bit of a focal point tree, especially in the early spring. So that's definitely something you want to consider, as well as their pink color. So depending on what color scheme you want to go with, that's something you want to keep in mind. But I wanted to share the reason why I'm sharing this picture with you. This is a landscape design project that I did in an introduction to landscape design class I did in college at BYU, Idaho. And so I wanted to show this because I used a redbud tree in this design. You can probably guess which one it is. It's this pink one down here in the bottom corner. If you follow the tag, it says right here, Eastern Redbud. And so I wanted to explain a little bit about the location of this in this design. So this is for a residential home. There's a bit of a private reading area here with a walkway down to the front. And so I put this redbud tree kind of for two reasons. One, to be an accent to the house, and kind of a fairly common landscaping mistake you'll see like contractors or homeowners do is they plant trees either too close to the foundation of the home or they put it right in the front where my mouse is, and it kind of blocks, especially if you have any architectural features. It blocks that from your street view, which part of that is personal preference. But a great tip that I would do is to have a focal point, either tree or a large shrub, offset. So right here, it's right off of this corner, and so now every spring you have you have the large tree on this side, which is a magnolia, and then on the other side you have a focal point, which during the summer it's just a normal tree, with green leaves, depending on the variety of redbud. But you have those two anchor points that frame the house from the street view. And not only does it provide a focal point for your home, but when someone's coming in, maybe there's people coming to the backyard through this path, they have those branches that will be arcing over the top, uh, also allowing to have that pink color when you're looking down the path. So overall, it's a really good placement that I like for red buds. But of course, there's many different ways you can use red buds, and I'll show another example of that. All right, so this is another example of another project I did in an advanced landscape design class. So this one was just a prompt that we were to design a park with a certain criteria. So you see these three pink trees. So in this design, these are originally Japanese sakura cherry trees. But cherry trees are a pretty easy one to swap with red buds because they are both spring bloomers. They're both typically pink or red. So they're a pretty easy one to swap out and they're similar size. So I wanted to use this uh, for this video to showcase another example of redbud trees. And so in this little, just a little practice that we did, I have three of these cherry trees. And so some of the placements for them, I'll just walk with you that you can do with redbud trees. So this one is a classic example of a focal point tree. So you see we have some private reading areas here. This is kind of overall a private section, but no matter where you're sitting, you have a good view of the cherry tree as well as the sidewalk around it. And so that's an example of how you can use a red bud as a focal point. It doesn't have to be something like this. It can be a focal point in your yard. But another way to use them, like for this one, there's a second entrance to this park in this example that I did right here. And so having something, uh, presumably this is a street, right, that we can't see at the bottom of this. So having something next to an entrance, very similar to the last one I showed you, having a focal point offset of your main entryway, kind of helps to make an inviting atmosphere, as well as having those pretty flowers right above that seating area that you can see underneath the tree, underneath this half moon kind of curve. And then for this one maybe isn't as clear of a purpose, but it's really so that the people on this side, when they're sitting down, they see this water feature, which this is a fountain right here. But when you're sitting over here, maybe while you're putting a coin in the well or something, right across it, you have this redbud tree that you can look at, as well as having a focal point for the gazebo. If someone, a lot of times people like to take pictures at gazebos, like engagement pictures or just family pictures. Having them framed up there and having a photographer from the inside gives you a good line of shot to that cherry tree, or in this case, in this video, a redbud tree. And so there's a lot of different ways we can use them. This is just another example. So I like to leave at least one good gardening tip per video. And so for this video related to redbuds, I'd like to show this website that I like to use called Gardenia. It's gardenia.net right up there. This is a great place to look for, like if you're wanting to do some research on different plants. I know they also do like different little garden styles where they do some commentary and some ideas for like color palettes and stuff. So this is a great place to start looking for. And a lot of times you want to know your Latin names. So in the beginning of this video, I shared with y'all that the Latin name of redbud is Cercis. So we can search that if we want to look up some redbuds. There we go. So we searched it. And so now it's going to give us a list of all the different plants that it has in its database with that Latin name. And so we can look around. It's going to see if they had one that I saw earlier. Yeah. So I wanted to show y'all. So one of the redbuds I came across at Crystal Bridges was called pink pom poms. And so they give a little bit of information about it, but let's say I want to learn a little bit more about it. So you can go to here. So they have it on their site. Pink pom pom. They have a picture of it. So you can kind of see where it gets its names. The flowers are a bit more full. Looks like little pom poms. They can tell you the hardiness, the heat zones, climate zones, all the different stuff about it, as well as sun. So this one's a full to partial sun, blooming period, and season of interest. And so it gives you a lot of great information. It goes a lot more in depth than other sites do, which is one of the reasons I really like it. I'll tell you how tall it gets. So this is kind of a smaller redbud tree. It only gets 10 to 12 feet tall. Doesn't transplant well. So if you're ever trying to look up, like maybe I want to move something, this would be a good one to research. It says it doesn't transplant well, so that might be not something you want to do. And so this is a great one. And I think they do offer some garden nurseries that you can look. Yeah, they offer some. Like if you want a very specific variety, they can give you some places to start looking at that list them in their site. So this is a great place if you want to learn more about different plants, and in this case, about pink pom poms redbud. Alright guys, well I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed some of the things we talked about with redbud trees, some of the different varieties, as well as some landscape design tips and how to find some redbud trees if you're interested in them. I had a lot of fun making this video. This is our first week here on Garden Theory. If you have any questions or anything that I missed about redbud trees that you think I should have covered, please put it down in the comments and I'll definitely get to it next time or even add it to the video. But I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps me out. We're trying to grow this channel here on YouTube and hopefully to create a fun community of gardeners and be able to be able to learn, grow more. I really want to showcase more about horticulture and its its aspects as a career for people, especially younger people who may be interested in nature and environmental conservation in general. So I really hope y'all like this video. Please tell me any ways that I can improve to make these videos better for you. Hope to continue to make better videos every day for you. So thank y'all for watching.